Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. I really wanted to talk to you about like getting hired as a disabled person, like the barriers that you were up against. I really want to talk about all that. But before we do all that, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is A.G. Chapman. That's my name to Plume. I'm a special Olympics athlete. I'm an author and I'm a former teacher of 6 weeks. But we will get into that later.
Yeah. Yeah, tell everyone about your book that you wrote.
So I wrote a book called Cerebral Palsy. Oh,
I
my
know you probably have to put it like right in front of you for the green screen. Yeah, there it is.
there it is. And I wrote it a couple of years ago now. But
Yeah.
it's a book explaining what theology is to elementary school kids, and it's um really well done. I wrote it, and then I had someone illustrate it, and yeah,
That's
that's my book.
great. So you wrote it like with that you were going to be like using it for elementary school students on like describing what cerebral palsy is.
Yeah,
Did you get to use it in your classroom?
yeah, I did.
How did the kids react? Did they like it?
Yeah, they liked it, and the parents liked it too.
Oh, good.
So
So let's just get right on into it. Tell me about your teaching position. Now, was this your first teaching
yeah,
position?
yeah. Hopefully not my last, but my first.
Yeah,
Was teaching tradition, yeah. Um, I'm not gonna say the name of the high school because the principal was really nice, and the vice principal was really nice to me, and I got hired there, so they believed in me. So I'm not gonna mention the name of the high school or anything like that, but
yeah.
yeah.
So they were all nice. And how did the interview process go? Like, I guess I don't really know if like disability is allowed to be talked about in the interview process.
So
So when did it come up?
so so it actually came up because of my book. So I said I was an author and I gave him a copy of my book, and then one of the vice principals had a friend growing up with CP, and I'm like, yes, she did it. She befriended one of us, like it's gonna work out, and I told my dad, like, I'm gonna get the job at the high school, like I know it. So
Yeah.
after my background check, I got hired, and then the fun began.
Awesome. So did you need any certain accommodations for working there?
No, not really. No,
Okay. And then how many aides were in the classroom?
how many each?
Because it was a special education classroom,
Yes,
right?
it was. It was like four
Okay.
people there, and then there were also some uh that were there sometimes, and yeah, not all of them were mean, but enough of them were mean that I decided not to work there anymore.
Yeah. So what was the problem? Like what were the paras doing? The ones that were being mean?
Hmm.
What were they doing?
They were selling they were selling stuff at lunchtime to like the general education kids and taking the money, and they were using it for the classroom, but it wasn't like, so my school was a Title I school,
Uh-huh.
And so sorting kids' money for snacks is probably not a good idea. And then they didn't have a store account in the office where the money was supposed to go. So the principal shut that down, and that was something big. Another thing is they had
Wait,
a
so are you saying that the paras were taking the money?
yeah.
Like stealing the money?
No, they didn't set it up in the proper channels.
Okay.
So they said it was for the class,
Yeah.
but I don't know because they didn't set it up through the proper channels.
Okay. And then were you trying to get them to do it like the way that they were supposed to, and then they just didn't want to?
No, I didn't really ask because I was just trying to do my job. But then they bought a TV for the classroom, and so my class put it to give you a better idea. Oh, I should mention that I do have cerebral palsy. So if you can't understand me, just let me know and I'll repeat myself.
Okay.
Um, but so anyway, my class had a portable. It was like two portables combined. On one half was kind of my side and some of the each side, and then on the other side we had students who were in wheelchairs or more independent in the bathroom. So
Yeah.
on that side, they did diaper changes, they did feeding, stuff like that. Not all my students needed that,
Yeah.
but for the ones that did, they would go over there and close the partition. That's why we had so many aides.
Yeah.
Because my class had students in wheelchairs and students with healthcare needs. So one of them was tube fed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So with all, so yeah, I definitely know. I remember when you posted something on Facebook saying that you were struggling connecting with the paras in your room. I
Mhm.
do remember being a first year teacher, and I was like 24, I think, 23.
I'm a little
And
older. I'm 33.
what?
I'm 33.
I we all go at our own pace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but I do very much remember my first year teaching. I was the youngest adult in the classroom, but I was the one who was the teacher. Like I was the
Mhm.
one who was supposed to be the leader, but the other three women in my classroom, one was only a year older than me, but the other two were like, they could have been my mom. Like they were in their 50s and 60s. And they also, all three of them have been at the school for, well, a couple years to like a decade or two. So
Mhm.
me coming in being like, hey, we're going to do it a different way now. They were like, no, we're not. Like, this is how we do it. Let us just do our thing. And
Yeah,
it definitely took a lot of time to like connect with everybody, build up those trusted relationships, and to like kind of get them more on the side of like, look at what our students are capable of doing. But it's hard, and it's hard to like be also managing an entire classroom while also trying to build all of these like different relationships with everybody.
yeah.
So yeah, that could be very challenging. Do you feel like you connected with any of the paras?
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Uh, two of them, they were trying to be, one had a kid in college, and the other was kind of the grandmother of the class, because she was really old and about to retire.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah. And then you were also sharing with me through Messenger that you were having a hard time that you wanted to teach To Kill a Mockingbird. And was it like, did your admin not want you to, or what happened there? What's that story?
So I live in California, so we don't have butt bands unlike the other states in the country. So general ed was doing it. I have read the book when I was in high school, and I really enjoyed it. And I found something online that had an adapted activity for
Oh,
students with
okay.
disabilities. And
That's
so I
awesome.
was just doing that, and they had an activity for every chapter with symbol support. And the problem was that when I told the OT, like, hey, we're not really doing pre-still level work, that's probably really, A, frustrating, or B, boring to the kids because they've been doing it like the whole students were actually reading the John Martin board, and the OT who's not trained in being a special teacher said, "Oh, well, that's too hard," and
Mm,
like that's not appropriate for these kids. These kids need to be working on cutting and pasting stuff, and they're not reading yet. How are you reading to them? And then the E came out and said, "Oh yeah, we don't like you reading it either. It's too hard for us even. The vocabulary is too hard."
yeah,
Now, granted, I was a first year teacher, so I didn't have an adapted book with me.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um, so that made me think of two different things that I wanted to talk about. So first, the idea that like that you can't read a book like that unless you know what all of the words mean or that you know how to read. Like when I was in high school reading aloud books, like I would mess up words in those books. Like as a general ed student, like I think what gets lost a lot of the times in special ed classrooms is they are expecting these students to, it's like, okay, well, you have to be able to sound out every letter perfectly before we like really move on to reading. Or it's like you really have like where I feel like in a general ed classroom, like they're kind of moving on with these lessons where it's like you don't know 100% about everything, but sometimes it's like you have to keep learning to like have that other piece click, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Because
No,
it's
it
like,
totally
I don't know,
does.
it's like you have to do it or else you're not going to know how to do it. And if you keep just learning,
Yeah,
letters the whole time, you're just going to get bored and then you're going to stop wanting to do the lesson. And then everyone's going to be like, oh, they're non-compliant. Like they can't show me they know how to do this. And it's like, no, man, they're bored. Like, why are we making them do the alphabet again?
yeah.
So I think that's great that you are
They
advocating to do that.
They thought that I had too high of expectations for them. They were
I used to
like,
get told that too.
well, these guys aren't gonna be doing chemistry and stuff. And the funny thing is, these guys, the eights have been in this class, and they're like, yeah. Like when they leave us, they go to the adult school, and then they go to an adult program, and those programs are fraught with abuse. But it's like, oh well,
Yeah.
there's not anything else for them to do.
Yeah.
Oh well,
If you
we'll
don't
just,
have high expectations for a kid, then like why then like I don't know, what's the point? Like why are it's like it's kind of oh my gosh. It's like so much more than just getting a student in a seat. Like the whole idea of like inclusion isn't just having a disabled child in a general ed setting. Like it's being an active participant in
Yeah.
our society, which we actually have to work on because of the embedded ableism that so many of that all of us, I'm sure, carry some sort of bias with. Um, I also wanted to talk about the appropriateness that you were saying they didn't feel like it was appropriate, where I feel like people try to hide things from kids a lot, like kids with and without disabilities.
Hmm.
Age appropriateness is something that I feel like I talk so much about with people because people want to just keep not giving kids information. And it's like, no, the world is full of hard, bad, sad things. How about instead we find a way to make that age appropriate? How
Hmm.
do we talk about like all the storms that just happened and people losing their houses? Like, how can we talk about that with kids? Because there are kids that are going through that. So it's like, how do we be appropriate? Um, but with like high expectations, as
Hmm.
everybody should have.
So a lot of them, and then a lot of them will really just like don't have that sense of inclusion.
Yeah.
One peer said, I was forced to remove two of the kids because they were eating paper in art class. So
Yeah.
art class is just time for Gen because this school was not inclusive. It was a Title I school. There were fights breaking out like a couple times a month, like once per month.
Yeah.
Um, so they weren't included as Gen Ed students except for art class, but I had to pull my two students because the age of like it's inclusion, not delusion.
Yeah.
So the age didn't believe in inclusion. I think they
Is that
just
what they would say to you?
yeah, they told me inclusion, not delusion.
Oh my gosh. It's
So they were mad that they had to teach them to Gen Ed classes. I just barely get them to go to PE. That's another thing.
Oh, they wouldn't let all your students in PE? Because that's usually like the one section where special ed students get to be included.
Well, these students, so these are the students in wheelchairs and stuff. So I guess that's why. One of them had some health conditions and couldn't be out in the sun for very long.
Mm.
Um, so I did see that being a
Yeah.
reason why, but and these kids were high school kids, and they didn't have like some of them. They didn't have access to robust communication apps like AAC.
Yeah.
The AAC belonged to the school,
Um,
and so it took me a long time for a while, and I don't like admitting this, but for a while I was just teaching. How many was it? Like 3 out of my 8 because it's read to respond and stuff. Um, because I didn't have AC. Like the iPads, I had the iPads, but they weren't charged, and
yeah.
I didn't really have training on how to get them. And it seemed like they were all of them were just barely learning how to use the iPads. And the iPads have been out since these guys were born.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was really sad. It was
Yeah,
really
that is a very common barrier to those AAC devices of either schools being the ones who get to keep them, so then they're not with their devices at home, or they don't come charged, and then you're trying to charge them and having to wait for that. And I mean, yeah, every time people do that, it's taking away that child's voice. And yeah, that's horrible. Um, I have one more question. I want to know, what kind of schooling did you grow up with?
Oh, you have one more question. It's only never mind. I was pretty much fully included,
Yeah.
and I kind of don't want to see a lot because I'm a master's student still, and my master's project. So we don't have to write a thesis or anything. We get to do a project, and I'm mainly working on a documentary about my school experience, so I don't want to
Oh,
talk about a lot about it. But to answer your question, yeah, I was fully included. Went to school in the '90s and 2000s. Graduated high school in 2010. Went to junior college. Went to a private college that was really ableist, and then I went to a public college. I went back to my community college and studied up there, and
yeah.
then I was like, I'm done. I'll just use my AA, and I won't do the BA.
Yeah. I'm sorry
But
about that
then,
private school.
uh,
I I've heard too many times that private schools, it's like it's just such a hit and miss. That
mhm.
sometimes they're really great with being inclusive and with the resources and have all of it going, and sometimes they are worse than the public school system.
Yeah, they tried to get me to change my major.
Yeah, to what? Oh, or do you not want to tell?
I don't remember. Like, I kept a vlog during that time,
Yeah,
but I don't really remember. I would have to go back. But like the teachers were able, one of them overly congratulated me and treated me like a seal, like like a seal at the zoo,
yeah,
doing really well.
yeah,
Um, and I was mad about that because I've never been overly congratulated.
yeah,
And because I don't have an intellectual disability and she didn't expect me to do well. And I know that because she told me that.
yeah,
And that was a bad professor I had in college. And yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I hope this documentary, I hope you share it when it happens, because
Yeah.
I would love to learn more about what your background was, because we are the same age almost. I'm 34,
Um,
and we, when I tell people about my public school experience, like I knew that there was a special education classroom, but there was no inclusive practices happening. It was
where did you
very
grow up? Bay Area or
no, in Orange County. So it
Orange?
was very segregated. The students with disabilities were in the um, like portables. They were in further classrooms. They ate lunch away from everyone. You would maybe see them when you were like going to get lunch, but it was just, and they never were in classrooms. I don't remember them being at assemblies. Um, And so it wasn't until I was in college that I started working with autistic students, and I was like, wow, this is like crazy. Like there's so many of you guys here, and I never see you out. And then after that, I think it really became a turning point that I was like, why are these students not like, why are these kids not playing with other
Mm.
kids? Like, why are we so separated? And so that really started the whole inclusion journey personally for me. Um, but yeah, I would not say my schooling had anything to do with it. It was,
My school was very much, they did have separate. I don't have an intellectual disability, so I think I was considered mild to moderate.
yeah,
I didn't even. I didn't even go to resource in elementary school. I was fully included.
Yeah.
Um, I left for speech therapy, obviously, but um, so speech therapy wasn't pushed in. Um, and really, as a kid, I also felt bad because I would miss something. Whenever I would get pulled out for speech therapy in elementary school, I would be missing something. I would be missing a part of the education.
Yeah.
And I got bullied constantly because so I started at a private elementary school. So, okay, I'm gonna have to tell you. So I started in preschool in a segregated preschool class for kids with communication delay. And I think that's just like dumb. Like I had no apart from the teacher, and the teacher was really good. But apart from the teacher, I didn't have any other role models to help me learn how to talk.
Yeah.
So it was a miracle that I learned to talk.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really common diagnosis that when people don't know um like how to get information from someone, like because you didn't have a way to express your like
And
communicate
I was always
expressly
bullied.
communicate express what you want to like communicate, that
Mhm.
they wrote it off as like an intellectual disability when like that obviously wasn't the case. But it's
Yeah.
like people, I don't know, their first thought, they're just like, well, we don't know if she's learning or not. We're just going to say intellectual disability, like, did our job.
No, it wasn't. It was for students with speech delay.
And they said, because, so they did not say intellectual disability. They said that you had a speech delay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said intellectual disability.
They said I had a speech delay.
Yeah.
And so I started early intervention. I did that. I did it wasn't even at a different school. I was bused to the next town over.
Yeah.
But like some of the kids were like from like the schools in Belmont, and like some of the kids were like in Woodside and stuff and would be bused over. It was totally not inclusive. And they still have Chinese classes to this day in my area. So my area is not very inclusive minded.
Yeah.
Um, I have a relative with Down syndrome who's a year younger than us. Then, yeah, younger.
Yeah.
And he lives like right near my high school, right walking distance. I had to be driven to my high school because I kind of live in an area where there's no schools walking distance, but he lived right next to my high school. He had to get bus to a rival high school and be put in a special day class in high
Yeah.
school. So my area is terrible for inclusion.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think anything of it until I started my blog and I was reading about children online, like in different states, who were fully included. And I'm like, why didn't everyone do this?
Yeah. Oh, I think that all the time. So are you going to go back and apply for jobs?
Yeah, I already applied for one.
Nice.
So,
Well, I hope that this next one turns out a lot better. Um, but I love that you were able to recognize that this school wasn't right for you and that you were able to leave. Because I think that's a lot of people have really hard times setting really good work-life boundaries. Um, and you were very clearly unhappy there. So that's good that you were able to notice that and leave. And I hope your next placement is so much better.
mhm. Thank you.
Is there any way that you want for me to like tag you in this? Do you just want me to like share your Instagram account or Facebook?
Yeah, my Instagram, and then I have a Facebook called Be Inclusive.
Okay.
It's BEE Inclusive,
Okay.
like the animal.
I like that. That's
Mm,
cute.
yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want people to know about, I don't know, cerebral palsy, hiring disabled people? Uh, well, I don't know. Is there anything?
I would say, like, for hiring us, like, realize, like, how much we don't want to be taught intuition. That was the thing that kind of made me foot. We don't want to be taught intuition. Um, we do want to vote, but for us, I don't know if it's common. But if you look at the statistics for people with disabilities voting, it's like not very high.
Yeah.
It's more than double. We want to vote.
Yeah.
I have the education. Yes, I do taught differently, but I've worked so hard. Like I've been in Cerebral on and off my entire life, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want people to realize that just because we have a disability doesn't mean we don't belong or anything like that.
Yeah.
We do belong. We do deserve to have awards. We do deserve to be included. You know.
Yeah. No, I love that. Thank you so much. And obviously I 100% agree.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just keep educating people. That's what we got to do, I guess. Get more,
So
um,
like,
squash the
I'm,
ableism.
I'm hoping, I'm hoping that I'm hoping that like maybe with this new administration, like the Harris administration, knock on wood, I'm also involved in my vote to stop the Young Democrats. So hopefully Harris is gonna get elected. But I'm hoping that we gotta have something from the federal government at this point.
Yeah.
From the top down, IDA hasn't been written, reauthorized since 2004
Yeah.
when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
Well, nothing, like, it needs to be updated and it needs to be more inclusive
Yeah.
focus.
Do you follow Cassidy? Do you know who she is?
Cassie.
I don't know her last name on the top of my head. I'll try to remember to send you.
Oh,
She
is
talks all about politics.
she's a little person?
Yes, I think she has
Yeah, yeah,
dwarfism.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. I interviewed her a few weeks ago and she just
Yeah.
is all about um disabled people getting access to voting and understanding what's happening in politics and just educating people. And I think it's such a good account because I feel like, yeah, I just love it. It was really good.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah. But thank you so much for coming on here. I'm sorry for like not like I usually remind people like a couple days before, like, hey, can we still meet? And
Yeah.
it has just been a crazy few weeks. I mean, I guess it's that time of the year, but also my kids are just at an age of like craziness. But just to let you know, I've started doing a new thing where I like record myself talking, like introducing you and then like concluding it without you. I used to do it with the person and it was so awkward because I'd be talking and then they'd be like, it just was really awkward for me.
Uh,
Um, but I'll edit it and I think I'll put like closed captions. I think I'll write it myself, just so YouTube doesn't mess it up.
yeah.
Um, so if I have any questions on like clarifying so I don't get anything wrong, I might message you. Just to let you know. This entire part right here of me describing that is not going to be on the episode, just to let you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, 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 I figured.
Yeah.
But
Um, yeah,
yeah. Uh, I think that's it. I
cool.
also want to say, like, in terms of, like, here's what I'll say about, like, hiring.
About
Uh,
who?
I don't really, I kind of feel like, and I might be wrong, this might be my bachelor's, but I have two sisters and they're able bodied and they're around my age, and they've gotten jobs and I've gotten jobs as well. But for me, from just observing that, I feel like everybody, people trying to have this notion of, well, of course I'll be hireable. Of course I'll have a job. Of course I'll be included. Of course I'll get married. Of course I'll do. It's like, of course. For me and for how I think, because of probably internalized ableism and I was bullied and stuff like that, I'm like, I hope I get the job.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm gonna get the job because if you look at the
yeah,
statistics point, well, I should be hesitant or I shouldn't even bother. Um, because I am disabled, and that's my thought process. Like, I hope to get married one day. I want to have a family. I want to have kids one day.
yeah,
Will that happen? I don't know because of ableism. Like back in junior high, um, somebody I was at my school dance, and somebody said, "Hey, Reed, Tom wants so and so wants to dance with you." And it turned out he didn't, and they were trying to set me up as a joke.
yeah,
And that's always has stayed with me.
yeah. Oh, totally. Well, yeah, that's really mean.
Like, am I worthy as a partner? Will I be worthy as a partner? I pretty much have never dated.
Yeah. Are you on
Uh,
any dating apps?
yeah, I'm on Facebook dating right now.
Yeah,
But even that, like, it's complicated. So I also have non-verbal learning disorder. Do you know
yeah.
what that is?
No.
Non-verbal learning disorder is kind of like, and it's kind of like autism,
Okay. And it's
and
called nonverbal learning disorder, and it's kind of like autism.
we struggle with social cues, we struggle with reading nonverbal language, we struggle with social appropriateness, we struggle with a whole bunch of things,
Yeah.
and we struggle with math. Like
Yeah.
in school, it's a math disability. Um, we struggle with appropriate behavior. Um, so yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I have not heard about that. I'll have to look into that some more.
Hmm.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I hope dating goes better. And I hope that you get a job.
Yeah, that
Live
was,
that life.
yeah.
Well, thank you again for being on my podcast. And I'll let you know when it airs. Here,
Okay, I
I'll
can't wait.